My name is Julianne Meyer, and I am the host of Own Your Wellness. Happy Monday. I'm excited to be here today. I've got a special guest, and I got to tell you one of the main reasons why I'm excited to have her on the show today. And that's because, and this is going to sound random at first, but I just received my rental renewal notice, and I'm moving. But it was one of those bittersweet memories, like one of those things that's coming up where even though I'm ready and I want to leave, I'm letting go of something. So the reason why I'm excited about this guest is because she's like me and she loves to live joyfully. And I think that I need to remind myself that today is full of joy, even if it does have something that I'm letting go of. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce my guest. Her name is Dianne Callahan. Let's bring her on. Hello, welcome.
Hello, thank you so much.
I'm so excited you're here. I know I said this to you privately before, but your smile is so contagious. I was instantly, the second I saw it, I thought, oh my gosh, she's going to be perfect. I need to have her on my show.
Well, thank you.
So not everybody's familiar with who you are. So we would love for you to share a bit about yourself and your own wellness journey.
Well, I'll tell you what, my wellness journey, the story is really about a journey through illness, and about just a little over a week ago, I celebrated the 14th anniversary of the day I found out I had stage 4 aggressive non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, blood cancer.
Wow.
Actually, and I'm an overachiever, so there were two kinds, so, whatever. So, I went through, there's a whole story there, and I hope to be able to share it with you during this time we're together. But I went through some pretty serious chemo, got in remission, and then I've actually had 2 relapses since then. So I'm actually a 3-time cancer survivor because it keeps coming back. That cancer, I guess, likes me or something.
What's that business?
It's not good business.
No, definitely not. So, as you mentioned, you'd love to share about your journey. I would love to hear more about that. I'm sure the audience would as well.
Well, okay. I'd love to tell the story. So here's the thing. Let's go back a couple of years even before that. So 2005, my 17-year marriage had ended. I wasn't able to have children during that marriage. I lost 3 babies. So
oh, wow.
My dream of becoming a mom was rapidly going sideways on me. In fact, I remember I was at lunch one day by myself, and I was reading the Oprah magazine, and there was an article by Martha Beck. Some of you will know who she is. She's just so profoundly wise. And it was all about how to get and live your heart's desire. And so she said, first thing I want you to do is close this magazine, close your eyes, and let the picture come up of what is your heart's desire, because your heart will tell you if you will be quiet and still and listen to it. So I forgot to close the magazine, but I closed my eyes and I thought, and this picture came up of me holding a grandbaby.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I was pissed. I was so mad. I slammed that magazine shut, and I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, okay, my marriage is done. I mean, it wasn't even ending. It was over. So my marriage is over. I lost 3 babies. I have no babies. I'm 41 years old. How is that dream that heart's desire is gonna come to pass, right? So I was just like, Martha, dang it. And so, but what's funny is how life evolves, and how God or the universe, or however you want to think of it, has a plan laid out for you. You just don't know it all yet, right? We have to remind ourselves that. So fast forward, so that was 2005. Fast forward to April of 2007. I meet a great guy. So on Match.com, by the way, I'm just going to be honest. And I was on a dating spree, and every Thursday night, no matter if I wanted to or not, I went on a date.
Wow.
Most of them were train wrecks, right? I wasn't going to give him any good weekend time because, an exercise in, frustration. So late April, I go on a date with this guy. He's a total nerd. So like my boyfriend in between the husband and this guy was like rode a Harley, he's that guy. Right? I got a tattoo when I was with him in Laughlin. I mean, it was so this guy's a nerd. And but he was so great. And we started seeing each other.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is, I was only the second person he met on Match. And
Oh,
so
wow.
he had paid for like a 6-month plan, and then
Mm-hmm.
like in 1 week he was done. I was like, okay. So we started seeing each other, and he shared with me he had 2 kids who were young, very young teenagers, and he was looking for someone to have fun with in life
Yeah.
and to help him finish raising his kids. And I'm like, well, is there an application or something allowed? I mean, that sounds good. So that's end of April. By the end of May, I started having all these symptoms, all this pain in my bones that kept moving around. So I'm going to the doctor, every week. And I had been cast in a production of My Fair Lady. So I was all excited because it was a new theater company I hadn't worked with before. So I'm like tap dancing and dancing with all these young people. And I'm like, am I really that old that I can't keep up? I'm only 43. Can I not keep up?
Yeah.
And turns out one day I'm sitting there and I said, oh, and I have this lump in my neck. And my doctor was like, okay, we're going to need to biopsy that. Before I
Mm-hmm.
even go to the appointment to get the biopsy, I ended up in the emergency room. I get admitted, and all the tests and the biopsies and everything started happening. And about 2 weeks later, we got the news that it was 2 kinds of blood cancer, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, stage 4,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so aggressive. So Chuck is his name, the great guy. He came to the hospital every night on his way home from work to see me and check in and talk to my family and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
The night once they found out what it was, I was already on chemo, like
Mm-hmm.
before we even got there. So he walks in. I'm like, okay, you are off the hook. I mean, we hadn't even been together 3 months, right?
Yeah.
You're off the hook. Nobody will blame you. You should go find someone who can make promises that she'll be able to be here to have fun with and help raise your kids. And so thanks a lot. You're free to go. And he said, well, when God gives you a gift, you don't give it back. And I was like, okay. And then he said, I already know that I want to spend the rest of my life with you. And I wasn't planning to do this here in the Kaiser Resort and Spa, but will you marry me?
Wow.
Can you believe it? So
Wow.
I know. And so when he tells a story, he always has to throw in the fact that I was on a lot of morphine at the time, and he wasn't sure if I was going to remember our conversation, but I did. And I mean, the truth of the matter is, if that hadn't been the situation, if we had been together 3 months and he proposed, I would have been like, oh my God, another freak, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it just was what it needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be celebrating our 13th anniversary in a couple months.
Oh, I love
And
that.
yeah, and he's been, I mean, when we said in sickness and in health, he wasn't lying, because I've had those 2 relapses. I've had 2 stem cell transplants at the city of
Wow.
Hope. I've had multiple bouts with really scary pneumonia. I mean, it hasn't been, it's been a tough journey through illness, but it's also a journey through it to wellness in lots of
Mm-hmm.
ways. And in fact, I love the opening of your show where it talks about wellness in ways that people can understand. It's not just, being cut and being the gun show and, you know.
Exactly. That's not
I mean, true wellness is in your head and in your gut and your soul.
Mhm.
And then the other things flow from that.
Exactly. It all comes together naturally. If you can get your mind right, your gut will follow, your heart will be there. I mean, you gotta, it's gotta be integrated.
Yes, yes, yes.
So it sounds like you've had some really positive people while you've walked through this journey. And that's wonderful. And not a lot of people have that. So that's a blessing. But
Yeah.
even though you have had these wonderful people, humans in your life, I can only imagine that there's still times where things are tough, and you just kind of get in that down frame of mind where it's like, enough already. Can't I catch a break here?
You know, you're right. I mean, it's no fun. Well, it's no kind of fun going through cancer. It's certainly
Yeah.
triple no fun going through it 3 times. Um, and it can bring you down. I like to tell people that cancer is no kind of fun, but it is kind of funny. You know, if you look for the humor. I mean, like
I love
one
that.
time. So when I was first in treatment, I had a wig, and it was like, wigs are like, they don't look like our real hair. It's all
No.
thick, and like I've never had thick hair like that. It comes down to here. It's whatever. And so we had a deal. We used to call it the hat because I didn't want to call it a wig because it felt, it's like it's a hat. It's a hair hat, right? So
I love that.
I just so one day, so I was staying with my parents throughout all this treatment because I had a 2-story townhouse. I mean, just getting upstairs was like not going to be happening. So
Yeah.
I was staying with my folks, and so Chuck would come pick me up like on the weekends and take me over to his apartment, which we called Camp Divorce. It was furnished with like Kmart specials.
Oh, and fake leather or something, like everything seems to be like leather, everything.
Yes. It was very brown with a very large television.
Oh goodness, I know what you're talking about.
Yep. And so he was going to take me to Camp Divorce for the day to, hang out and give my mom a break and stuff. And this was in the heat of the chemo when it was, like barfarama. There were days I would throw up 20, 21 times a day because
Wow.
some people can handle chemo pretty well. Apparently, I'm not one of them. So we get in his big old truck or Durango, what he had, and I had to carry the barf bucket with me wherever I went, right? Because you never know. So
Yeah.
I'm have my hat on and trying to be all like it's a date, And I got the barf bucket and I said, hey, if something happens and I need to like, do it, just take the hat off because I don't want to get barf in the hair. Right?
Yep.
So we weren't even to the freeway yet, right? From my parents' house. And we're stopped at a red light and I'm like, oh no, because you can feel it coming, right? You're like, oh no. And so another car pulls up, but I can't even see because I just grabbed the bucket. And so I lean down to start throwing up. Chuck pulls the hat off, so I'm bald. And the people in the other car are like, oh my God. I think they thought he killed me or something.
Oh my goodness.
So you have to laugh. You have to laugh. There's just, if you can... I'm writing my second book right now, and it's called Journey Through Illness. And I bring this up because one of the chapters, the first chapter, is what to pack for a trip you never wanted to take, right?
Ooh, I got chills. Chills.
Vacations are great, all kinds of adventures. I'm in Puerto Rico right now. I mean, it's great, right? I know what to pack for this, but most of us don't know what to pack for a journey through illness. And so I talk about, you need to pack your faith. You need to pack your hope. You need to pack, and your sense of humor. You gotta pack it because if you can't laugh at this ridiculousness, all you're gonna do is cry. And God knows I shed a lot of tears, but you temper that with.
Yeah, you didn't stay there the entire time. You didn't stay in that. Yeah. Oh, I love that. So I'm curious this is your website. I know that you have more than one book. You already have one that's out, correct? So people can come to your website and reach your book through there, or?
Actually, I just realized I should tell you I have a second website. I can put it in the chat.
Please do. Yeah, let's do that as well.
Okay. My first book is called Lighthearted Life. It's simple strategies to live a joy-filled life, even in stormy times.
Oh, okay.
And
yes.
It's available on Amazon. And yeah, it's just, see, I'm a speaker. This is what I do, right? And I train and I speak at, all this encouragement for joy. And every time I would get off a stage, people would be like, okay, what do you have? Are you a coach? Do you have a mastermind? Do you have a book? What do you have? And for a long time, I was like, I don't have anything. I don't have me, hi.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I need to listen to that. So I put together a lot of the different presentations and speeches and keynotes that I've made and trainings and all the research that went into those.
Mm-hmm.
So Lighthearted Life is full of strategies on
I love it.
happiness fitness, how we can, there's so much research about, through positive psychology. Like I always thought, because I tend to be, upbeat. I'm blessed with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, are people just stuck wherever they land with their DNA? Like, how some people are like, well, that's just how it is,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And I needed to know if that was actually scientifically right. And the thing is, it's not.
No.
Um, if you think of it as a spectrum between like sunshiny days and dark, stormy days, your DNA will put you somewhere on the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
But that only accounts for 50% of your ability to be as happy as you want to be. Another 10% is about your circumstances. Are you in the hospital getting a stem cell transplant? That might
Yeah.
lower it a little bit, but are you on the beach enjoying a beautiful day? So then
Mm-hmm.
that leaves 40% that you have control over through your thoughts, your behaviors, the people you surround yourself with. And if you think about it like a pie,
Mm-hmm.
ask yourself, like, Julianne, what is your favorite pie? What kind of pie do you like the best?
Ooh, that's tough. I'm gonna go with apple.
Oh, my mom makes a great apple pie. Okay, so apple pie. Now, if you picture that pie and they're cutting it up and they put 40% of the pie on your plate, you would be overjoyed. The original fat girl in me would be overjoyed for that. And and that's a lot. 40% is a
It
lot. And
is.
so
It
for
is.
people that just want to stay under their cloud or don't, they want to stay there, or they don't know that they can step out from underneath it. They're my
Mm-hmm.
people. That's part of the reason I speak, and that's one of the big messages of Lighthearted Life. And there's information in there, you know, um, gratitude, the art and science of
Mm-hmm.
gratitude, and how to up your love game for yourself and for others, so that people that you love know it and they know
Yeah.
why. This came up in I work with Be the Match, the organization that found my stem cell donor.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, and it's such a great organization. And if you guys have ever thought about getting on the registry, please go to bethematch.com and consider getting on the registry, because the woman who got on the registry in a small town in Germany, a young mom with a little boy, she thought, well, I'll just get on there because I might save somebody's life. Well, the life she saved was mine. And
Wow.
yeah, and so I work with them because it's such an important cause for me. And so I facilitate like survivor calls.
Mm.
And one time we were talking about legacy, like how did you create your legacy? And what
Mm-hmm.
they meant to be talking about was all the paperwork, like the will and the um I almost said the do not disturb, but that's not it. It's the like DNR. That's what it is.
DNR, yes. Do not
Yeah, do not
resuscitate.
disturb.
Well, yeah, that works too. It's a
Don't
little more
disturb
polite.
me, okay? But all of that paperwork to get your ducks in a row, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
what they were intending to talk about. And so I'm on there, and they get to me, and they're like, "So Dianne, well, what do you have to share about this?" And I'm like, I didn't do any of that. So what I focused on was upping my love game. And they're like, "Well, what does that mean?" And I said, "I just want the people that I love to know it, no matter what, no
Mm-hmm.
matter what happens with this cancer stuff, no matter, the Mack truck that might run me over tomorrow. But more than that, I want them to know what I appreciate about them, what I admire about them, what I try to emulate from
Mm-hmm.
their life, like how I take their best stuff and I'm like, let me be like Nan, my best friend, or let me be like mom, and I want them to know that impact. So I try to, up my love game all the time. So the book is full of all that kind of stuff.
I love that. That is so beautiful. And it seems like, that's for everybody.
Yeah.
That is for everybody.
Well, the truth of the matter is, I mean, my whole point is we all go through stormy times.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody promised the rose garden, and if they did, the roses have thorns, and you still need rain to grow flowers. So
Exactly.
your storm might be, I mean, I've been through a lot of storms, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Cancer is probably the least difficult of them. So, there's divorce, there's bankruptcy, there's losing babies, there's fires and floods, there's moving, there's being laid off, there's
Yeah.
bankruptcy. There's a lot of storms in the world,
There's so many. And I love that too, because, especially with trauma in particular, everybody's trauma is different. And I like to call it trauma because it affects you. And the funny thing is, you probably wouldn't call it trauma because you lived through it. And other people would consider it trauma because you lived through it. Like, woo! But I love that, there's no judgment. Like the pain that you are dealing with can look different, but it's pain.
Right. And I talk a lot about PTSD, right? Post-traumatic stress disorder, because that's a real thing.
It
That
is.
is a real thing, whether you went through your own trauma, whether someone you love has gone through their trauma. There are things. There are certain smells that if I smell them, I'm like, ugh. Like In-N-Out burger. Can't smell that stuff anymore because my husband and son ate it one day when I was in the middle of chemo, and I was just like, no, no. And it was on PTSD. But when I talk about PTSD, I always share there's like the flip side of it is post-traumatic growth syndrome. And it's post-traumatic growth where you take that trauma, you take that hard time, you take that storm, and figure out how to make it have meaning and purpose in your life, so that it wasn't just, a crap show. It wasn't just pain that you're just for no good reason. You could figure out a reason. You can do something with it. You can experience the healing power of helping other people through it. Exactly. Whatever it is, you can write about it. You can have growth and embrace the journey of it for the new paths that you find. One of the last chapter in this new book, Journey Through Illness, is about the souvenirs that you bring home from the trip, right? Because who doesn't like a good suvie? If you're in Hawaii, you got to get, stuff at the ABC store, right? So this journey has suvies as well. I mean, you can have a greater sense of purpose. You can have renewed gratitude for just the littlest, teeniest things. You can have deeper relationships with the people that you love. You can put your heart and soul into a mission that helps others, in the area that you've been through. And so you experience that healing power. And then that is what post-traumatic growth is, turning it around and helping other people. I mean,
pain for purpose.
Yep.
That is absolutely beautiful. I even enjoy your titles because it makes it a story, and that I can connect with more. So instead of just you telling me how to be or something like that, it's just kind of like, this is how it is, and this is how I walk through it, and this has been my journey, and this has been my trip, and these are my souvenirs.
These are my suvies. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I just love that because, like you said, it makes it lighthearted too. And I think that humor is one of the most important things in wellness. And, it can literally change your DNA, it can literally change the cells in your body. And so if you're fighting something, don't you want to give yourself every advantage possible?
You do. So. In Lighthearted Life, the foreword was written by my oncologist, and he's been my man for 14 years, almost as long as my man's been my man. So I always like to say to him and to my husband, you're not the boss of me. And then they look and they're like, oh, but yeah, we are. We are the boss of you. So, and then my husband always, threatens, like, if you don't straighten up, I'm going to call Dr. Farrell. But Dr. Farrell wrote the foreword for my book. And it was such a blessing because he did talk about, he said that there is absolute medical scientific correlation between your, looking for the lightheartedness, trying to be optimistic, trying to come at it from a positive standpoint. And it's not meant to be, fake. It's not like, happyology or something. But if you can, work on training your brain, work on packing those, sense of humor and that sense of hope and your
Yeah.
friendships and things, you actually do, like, you have less pain from the symptoms. And he said that the patients that he has that are positive and just like laugh,
Mm-hmm.
they recover more quickly, and they have a, on the whole, this is not a promise, but they have
Uh-huh.
a slightly easier journey.
I love that he mentioned that, because it's true, first of all. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
but the thing too is, and I think a good place to start, because sometimes when you're in something and you really can't see the light, why not start with a funny movie, something that makes you laugh? Just get yourself going. I mean, you don't have to sit there and try and force it, like you mentioned, because
Hmm.
that's forcing it isn't the same.
No,
No,
no.
it's not. It's not the same. But on
You
that
know,
note, I'm
oh,
sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, there are some people I know who talk about, toxic happiness and toxic positivity. And I'm like, whoa, it makes me sad
I've
because,
never heard that. Yeah.
oh, you don't hang out with the people I hang out with.
I'm
But,
like,
well,
okay.
I think it's, I don't know. I think people who want to stay in their, less positive, more negative thought process or,
Yeah.
place, they don't want to be prodded or encouraged
Yeah.
to change, to try to look at one or two things a little bit
Yeah.
differently, because it's hard. I mean, the work we do on ourselves is the hardest work of all, right? So
It is.
I get it. It's hard, but it's not toxic. I mean,
No.
unless you're like, oh, turn that frown upside down. You have to be happy 24/7. I mean, but that's ridiculous. That's
Yeah.
not possible.
That's not even real. But yeah,
No.
it's interesting. You taught me something new. Thank goodness I don't know anybody that said that.
Yeah, it's a thing. Some people have
I
said
mean,
it.
I'm not surprised. I'll say I'm not surprised, but I am very glad that I haven't heard it up until now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, we do need to go to commercial break. So we'll be right back, okay?
Okay.
Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. I knew it. My joy level went from here to here. I'm always, joy can be and is independent of outside circumstances, but sometimes it helps to have an outside circumstance to remind you of that innerness. So we do have to go to commercial, but before we go, I'm going to say hello to everybody who's watching us live. You are appreciated, and we will be right back after these messages.
Now, you can vibrationally align your aura. You can gain a larger and spiritual perspective on life, relationships, God, people, wellness, and money. You can also have moments of meditation and reflection any time of the day. And reading the thrilling, adventurous, and mystical story of Shiga will just add more faith to your daily experience of the mystery of the universe.
When drug or alcohol addiction take over, things begin to disappear. Your friends, your family, and eventually, you. Recommended by Dr. Phil, New Method Wellness can help get your life back with individualized treatment plans for dual diagnosis clients. New Method Wellness provides the most highly credentialed treatment in a safe and welcome environment. Call New Method Wellness for your free consultation and ask about our national accreditations. Together, we can put the pieces back together.
As human beings, we are meant to thrive in an environment where true love is shared, where we are welcome just as we are. A space we connect with others with the single purpose to find God as love within. A place we learn to raise our consciousness and vibration for happiness, wellness, and wealth creation. Transformative, an online spiritual gathering for everyone. This invitation is sent to you by www.livingfaithschool.org.
Welcome back, everyone. If you're just joining us now, my name is Dianne Meyer, and I am the host of Own Your Wellness. And today's special guest is Dianne Callahan. Let's bring her back. Hello, welcome back.
Hello.
So during the break, we had a chance to figure out your other website. So I want to make sure that people can reach you here as well. Could you please explain what people can find at this website?
So lightheartedlife.org is my original website. I occasionally blog there. I have information on my speaking. So if anybody wanted to book me as a speaker, there's information about that. I have information about my book. So it's kind of like everything under the umbrella of Lighthearted Life. In fact, the logo of Lighthearted Life is an umbrella, because I feel like when you cultivate a spirit of lighthearted living, a spirit that seeks the humor, seeks the joy, it is like an umbrella for the storms in the world. And it's also an umbrella for the big, beautiful sunny days when because you don't want to get too much sun either, right? So it is your umbrella for handling everything that life and the world can throw at you.
I love that so much. What a beautiful, I love it when people's logos have meaning besides that looks pretty. No, that's a beautiful sentiment, because it's just a good way to live, just in general. So I know that you also have a Facebook community.
I do. I started this right at the beginning of COVID, really, because I thought, oh my gosh, we are in the middle of a pandemic. We are in the middle of social unrest. We are in the middle of a crazy political world and an election and everything. And I thought, there needs to be a place in the land of Facebook that that's not going to be the hot topics. We're not going to have arguments. We're not going to try to change people's opinions to our opinions by our witty repartee, right? I wanted a place, a safe, beautiful, joyful place where people will find encouragement, inspiration, beauty, joy, all of those things. And so that's why I started Lighthearted Life Community. And we now have over 1,200 members in that community. And we've got people from 5 or 6 different countries now. And so and there's, people share their own stuff, and they, comment, and it really is that place of encouragement in the, web, in the internets.
Yeah. You know what? I love that so much, because that makes me think about how, especially when we're going through something, we tend to want to talk about the problem. We tend to want to talk about like what's wrong and, how are we going to fix it and all that. But the same thinking that got you there isn't the same thinking that's going to get you out of it. So I love that you focus on the positive and lightheartedness, because that will get you into a higher energy and vibration, because that's what you're focusing on. It's just the law of attraction, Yes.
I literally just spoke about this in my group coaching program this morning. Someone sent me an awesome TikTok, right? And it was this guy, he talks so fast. I love him because I'm a fast talker too. And he had it was actually research from Stephen Hawking, to tell you the truth, about the vibrations that are created by different emotions. So he had this whole chart, and he was equating it to cars, right? So he says, down at the bottom, you have anger, you have shame, you have resistance, all these different really pretty negative emotions, right?
Mhm.
He's like, that's like a P2 Cruiser. Nobody wants to drive that, right? And I was like, oh, some people drive that. And then and he has like 4 different sections, and it keeps going up with like, wellness or different things. Wellness isn't an emotion, but I wish I had the graph in front of me. But it keeps going up in like chunks. And
Mhm.
then at the top, there was things like enlightenment, love, and joy. And that's like the Teslas of the world, right? I mean, that's when you're cruising at the highest vibration, and
Mhm.
that's what you're giving off into the world, and that's what's magnetizing to you.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, because the people that are down in the PT Cruiser land, I think that he should have put PT Cruiser as the second one. I think he should have put like
Pinto.
a Pinto, an orange Pinto with the white stripe on it should be at the very, very bottom, right? And but the people that are driving a Pinto in their head, mentally, emotionally driving that Pinto, imagine that, you can picture it, right? You just know that they're so certain that life is kind of crappy, but everything that they bring to them is proving that to them. They're bringing
Yeah.
unhappy people. They're responding, grouchily. Is that a word?
It is
To
now.
servers, yeah, to servers or to people, and so people are giving back what they're getting, and so that's
Mhm.
what's coming to you. It's just like when you're on the freeway and you're looking over and there's this beater car that's like all dented up on the fender, and you're like, I don't want to drive next to this person because that's coming to me. I don't want that on my Tesla someday.
Yes, yes. No, that's wonderful. I love that example. Are you familiar with Steve Chandler? He's a writer.
I don't think so. No.
I think you'd really enjoy him. He writes really easy to read books. Each chapter is like 2 pages long. But
That's
in
how I
one
do
of
mine.
one of my favorite books of his that I read at least once a year is called Reinventing Yourself.
Ooh,
And,
I love
yeah,
it.
it is such a good read. But he talks about the language and how we speak to ourselves, and he calls it the ladder of selves. Like the higher up you go, the higher vibration you are. And it's like even our language, even if you don't believe in vibration and energy, even our language speaks to that. Down in the dumps,
Yes.
high on life, all of these things, like we literally speak in the same way without even realizing it. So I love that because, we do create what we're looking for, we're going to find.
Right.
And that's just our reticular activating system. That's the brain. Bam.
Exactly. And what we so one of the talks I give talks a lot about the brain science, right? And what
Mm-hmm.
we do repeatedly, deeply and rewardingly
Uh-huh.
is it changes the neurons, how they work together in our brain, right?
Yeah.
So I know someone who ruminates a lot on things that she doesn't like.
Mm-hmm.
And she will tell the story of the thing that happened to many people
Yeah.
using almost the same phrases and words and tone. And so it just gets like grooved into her brain.
Mm-hmm.
And even the reward for that is that people, feel your pain, things like that. But what I keep trying to impress upon her and others is that the more you do that, the more your brain, it's like pop-up ads on your computer, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you go search one little time for red shoes, and that is all you see everywhere, right? Red shoes everywhere. So it's just like that with your brain, though. And so
Yeah.
as soon as anything even has a sniff, a little smell of that situation, your brain pops right into, reaction mode,
Yeah.
hissy mode, and but the flip side is also true. If you try to ruminate on or spend time in meditation or spend time in nature, spend
Mm-hmm.
time in gratitude, looking at the beauty of this world, thanking God or the creator or universe,
Mm-hmm.
goddess, whoever it is, thanking, just giving thanks
Mm-hmm.
for the blessings that you've lived through, for the people that have been in your life who have brought you joy or taught you lessons, looking at, I mean, I'm the queen of posting the cute puppy videos on social media because You need that. Because
Yeah.
one of the things that you said early on when we're talking about wellness um, obviously has to do with moving our bodies,
Mm-hmm.
obviously has to do with fueling our bodies and
Mm-hmm.
giving our body the nutrition that it needs to work well.
Yeah.
But an even deeper descriptor is what do we ingest in our brain? What
Exactly.
do we ingest in our brain? We could spend all day doing the power shakes and the bananas or whatever, and we could do
Mm-hmm.
like your intro says, we could do burpees all day long. I cannot, but some people might. I can lift a big 5-pound dumbbell. I can do that. But we could do that all day long. And if we're ingesting absolute garbage
Mm-hmm.
into our brain and our heart and our soul, we will never be well.
Exactly. That's exactly it. It's so true because, I can't even tell you how many people I've met that technically do all the perfect things in the Western world, shall we say. It's more normal and accepted in Eastern cultures to do things like meditate. I mean, it's more popular now here, but
Right.
we don't have that same connection where it's like we think that it's separate. Like our brain is separate from the rest of us and it doesn't affect us. But, we keep our issues in our tissues, as they say. And if you have, these thoughts and these emotions that are toxic, you are keeping those emotions and thoughts in your body. So
And
then you wonder.
Then you wonder.
Yeah, then you wonder.
Why you get sick? Why we get cancer? Why we, have a breakdown? Why we can't, we get to the day where we just cannot handle life.
Yeah.
Now, that happens sometimes because
Yeah.
life can be difficult and very challenging.
Yeah.
I think about I'm in some groups on Facebook so one of the challenges for having a unrelated donor stem cell transplant is
Mm-hmm.
a secondary disease called graft versus host disease.
Oh.
So if you think about, I got a brand new immune system with those stem cells that got into my body. So my body, I mean, I could do crimes. I mean, I'm telling you what, I have a different blood type. I went from O negative to O positive. So a lot of things change. If you swab my cheek and then took blood, I would look like two different people. It's so weird.
Crazy.
It's
Yeah.
a science experiment every day. But I forgot what I was going to say. What were we talking about?
I got so interested in what you were saying. I lost the train of thought too. We're talking about, oh goodness.
We were talking about wellness.
We were definitely talking about wellness and just to like how our brain works and how it's interconnected and how sometimes life happens. And
yes, so I was sharing about graft versus host because it attacks lots of different areas of your body, sometimes all at the same time. I've had it everywhere you can have it. I mean, it goes after your liver, it goes after your gastrointestinal tract, it goes sores in your mouth, it goes after your eyes. I have to use eye drops all day long, every day. It's been in my lungs, on your skin. It creates these awful rashes and discolorations. I don't want to show you. You wouldn't like it. Also, I mean, I'm going to be honest. It goes after your female parts.
Wow.
And kind of wrecks that whole fun zone.
Yeah.
So I'm in a couple different groups on Facebook for graft versus host survivors, and there are every once in a while you see someone post like, if I knew it was going to be this hard, if I knew life was going to suck this much, I wouldn't have done the transplant. Which means, I mean, because when you get taken a transplant, there's a 30% chance you won't even survive the transplant. So you really only having a transplant because there's no other option.
Yeah.
For life.
Yeah.
If you want to live, you got to try this.
Yeah.
So, and so there are people who struggle. We know this, right? People who struggle with real things. They struggle with hunger. They struggle with homelessness. They struggle with addiction. They struggle with graft versus host disease. And I don't take that lightly. When I talk about joy and wellness and happiness, I do not take that lightly.
Yeah.
But what I do want to encourage people is that there's so much power right here in our brains, And we have so much choice. Even when things seem like I don't have a choice, like I don't know what it is, we have a choice of how we think.
Yeah.
And we have a choice to take a minute just in that moment. Maybe you have a day of misery, but you have 60 or 120 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
You think of the laugh of a baby, or you look at a picture of a brand new puppy, or some flowers, anything
Mm-hmm.
to see that even in the midst of the hard, joy is still happening.
Yeah.
Which means if you can do that, that means that you can claim that there will be some joy for you, some joy
Yes.
out there. Joy is still happening. So it means that there's still a possibility that you're going to get some of it.
No, I love that. That's absolutely beautiful. And, I'm really glad that you said you don't take that lightly, because we're not talking about ignoring, our issues, but we also don't need to make it our main focus because if you break your arm, you're not a broken arm.
I love that you said that, because a friend of mine, very, very wise friend of mine, we were talking about how typically women, okay, because we're women, we were talking about women, how women are at such odds with their bodies, right?
Yeah.
And how we say, oh, I'm fat, right? Oh, I'm fat. You are not fat. You have fat.
Exactly.
You are not fat. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and what's interesting in this journey that I've been through, I was never the skinny girl. I was never, the size 5 going out with the quarterback of the football team. That wasn't happening. That was not me. But I knew at a young age, I was like, well, I want to dress cute, and I want to get involved with everything and be smiley and fun and show people that life is good and fun, and you can try things. No, it doesn't matter what size you are, right?
Exactly.
You don't have to be the skinny girl. So that's been my whole MO. But the honest truth is, I have been so mean to myself, so ugly to myself. Like if I had said the things to other people that I routinely had said in my brain, the whole world would have thought I was a wretched, awful person, right?
Yep.
And I remember even one time in my first marriage, my weight was an issue there. Mm-hmm. And I would go to work out to jazzercise, which I love. It's all great music and you're woohooing.
Yeah.
In my head, I would be saying such ugly things. Look how fat you've gotten. You can't even lift your leg up. Oh my God. And so I was working out like a fiend, but I barely lost any weight because I couldn't, right?
No.
So when I went through this journey through illness, and I don't mean it to sound trite, because it is not trite. This was transformative for me. I now have, I have scars from surgeries and ports that they put in, and I've got all these purple marks on me from this graft versus host disease. I've got stuff, right? I have stuff. But there came a day when I don't know what happened, but I just all of a sudden was like, this body, round as it might be, fought so hard for me to still be here. It fought through 3 fights with cancer, so much chemo, so much illness, so much disease, and it fought and showed up for me and kept fighting. And here I've been this whole time down talking it, smack talking it, saying the ugliest things to this body of mine that is a blessed body, I mean, because you look at it, like, what are these hands for? What are these hands for? They're to hold other people's hands. They're to reach out and help other people. That's what hands are for, right? What are legs for? It's to get you where you need to go, right? And to do the things that you're called to do. And when you look at your body, our bodies were not created to be on the front cover of magazines. That's not any kind of purpose. That's lovely. I mean, get a good photographer and some good lighting, and you never know. Our bodies were meant to take our soul, our real self, our spirit and soul into this world to experience all of it, the tastes and the smells and the sounds and the hugs and all of it, and to live it up and to be with other people and to bring the joy, right? So when we require more than that from our bodies, and we treat our bodies and ourselves so badly because this body doesn't live up to somebody over there's body, we ruin the whole thing. And I'm not here to say that it's not important to do healthful things, because it all works together, right?
Yeah.
You're feeding your body for the most part with good things, feeding your brain for the most part with good things, feeding your physicality for the most part with good movements and playful times and walks on the beach or whatever it is.
Yeah,
If you're
exactly.
feeding your soul with quiet times, then it all works together so that you can be healthful and well and be that role model for other people who are still seeking and searching. And you can bring the joy.
Oh, that was so beautiful. I don't even want to add anything to that. I know that you do offer coaching. So how can people reach out to you? Is that going to be your high performance or website or your email, or how can people, what's the best way?
The best way, if you want to know anything about my coaching or my books or the Facebook group, you can always just email me. Because I'm old school. I look at my emails every day. And I'm excited because I started a business with my best friend, my BFF. We've been BFFs since before BFF was even a term. It's been 43 years we've been BFFs, right? And we're both like personal development junkies. We read all the good books. We share all the good memes and texts and everything. And we've been following Brendan Burchard, who is a high performance coach trainer, right? And so last year we went to a great session, 3-day session, and then we thought, this is what we should do. We have all this wisdom now. One of my staff used to call me the gray hairs, right? I'm one of the gray hairs now. I got some wisdom, I got some years, and so we launched our business called Catalyst Coaching in January, just this past January. We launched it with workshops, and then and we work one-to-one with people, obviously, but we have what we call our High Performance Power Hour. It's a group coaching program every Monday morning at 6 a.m. Pacific time, because it's really for people that are busy and going for it and high performers. It's really the only time that they know for sure that they're going to make themselves available. And you start off your week. We always say we're showing up strong on a Monday, right?
I love it.
And we just dig into these pillars of high performance and clarity and purpose and mindset and influence and courage and productivity and energy, all of it. We just work through it every single week, and it's been really fabulous.
That does sound awesome. Oh my gosh, I hate to say this, but we are at the end already. Can you believe it? We have like 1 minute left. Is there anything else you'd love to share with the audience?
You know what I'd like to say? This is what I say a lot. You guys, don't wait until you get a call in the middle of the night, because those are never good, or you get a diagnosis, or somebody comes home and says, I'm out, I want a divorce, whatever it is. Don't wait until the storm happens. Build your joy, build your resilience now. Live urgently. My motto is live urgently. And I don't mean run around like a crazy person. I do not mean that. What I mean urgently is know who you are and why you're here. Know what your purpose is, what you're called to do, how you can make this world a better place, and live into that every day. And don't wait until you have to rethink your whole life because you're in a hospital bed. That's just not the place to be thinking like that. Think about it now, because the time is now.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dianne, for being here today. It's been a pleasure getting to know you a little bit better.
It's been a joy. Thank you so much for having me too.
Absolutely. I didn't even want to say goodbye. We definitely need to have her back on the show soon, very soon, just so I could talk to her some more. But that is all the time we have until Thursday. We'll see you soon.